Hello and welcome to another recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. We are on season 15, episode 12, The Unmasking of Elizabeth Vargas. Okay, well, as I mentioned in the last recap, Elizabeth kind of seems to be losing her mind, but the whole thing, or she's having a severe emotional reaction to talking about her past and abuse that had happened in her childhood as a member of this Pentecostal cult in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri. Now, as I said last time, the whole thing feels off to me. It feels strange. It feels stilted, even, I don't want to say fake, because I'm sure this is her story. So as I said last time, I wonder, okay, did she just sort of close herself off emotionally so that she doesn't really cry or show true depth of feeling when she's talking about this? Because she was fake crying and then she did a fake panic attack. Again, those are two things that I can definitely read very, very successfully with like 99.9% accuracy, and I didn't believe either one. But however, if she's blocked herself off to kind of protect herself from what happened to her when she was a kid, and I'm sure some terrible things did happen to her, then why is she just dying to tell everybody and dying to speak to the cameras about it? The whole thing is very, very strange. All right. Okay, so from birth until age 13, she was raised in a Pentecostal church. And, you know, there are weird little churches like this all over America. I mean, you know, this is, sometimes they do take a piece of land and kind of create a little closed community where outsiders aren't really welcome. And then of course it's easy, especially when you're practicing a religion that is very extreme, that is very, can I say, fanatical. It's very easy for that to shade off into a cult, and that seems to be what happened here. Okay, so they lived on this commune and they were not allowed to leave. Now I feel like Braunwyn is trying to help her, but in a really strange way. I find Braunwyn's interest creepy. I see Braunwyn and I see Dr. Deb. Again, I sound like the world's biggest cynic, but I'll say it again. I don't buy it. I don't believe her. Braunwyn comes off as fake. And suddenly, after, you know, thinking that Elizabeth was this horrible person, suddenly she wants to be the one person in the world who's going to be there for her and take care of her and help her through all this. I mean, yeah, of course, you know, of course you feel kind of, I'm sure, moved or touched or something, or shocked if someone shares this sort of story with you. But again, I feel like the two of them, it's like fake and fake. And I'm very open-hearted, and I'm quite sensitive and empathetic. And believe me, if it's there, I would feel it, and I'm not feeling it. This whole part seems, it's making me uncomfortable, and it's not ringing as, I don't want to say true, but just authentic. It's not ringing as authentic to me. Okay, so she says she was abused, she was locked in closets, she was beaten, all horrible. I just keep asking myself, why now? Why are you coming out with all this now? Now they've kind of found out that that's not really true, that you lied about a lot of that stuff, which again is not their business. Your financial situation is not their business. So now I feel like, oh, okay, now I'm not the rich girl. So now I have to be the victim girl. Now I want to be the victim of horrible abuse girl. I'm sorry, you guys. I know how this sounds, but I just have to tell you how I'm feeling and how I'm reading it. And this is how I'm feeling, and this is how I'm reading it. Okay, she calls it religious abuse, which is a thing, definitely. The church was shut down by the FBI. Wow. just keep saying, why now? Why in front of the cameras? And most of all, why are you picking Braunwyn to be the person to spill all this to? Very, very odd. She also has a tendency to laugh nervously when she's telling the story. Now that I can relate to. I find that, you know, sometimes in the process of having told, you know, kind of my history of some things that were, you know, pretty horrific, I will also sometimes oddly find myself laughing, or not exactly turning it into a joke, but almost as a way of self-soothing, to suddenly become like, you know, turn into Sarah Silverman, and suddenly I'm a stand-up comic. I don't know, I can't explain it, but that comes out of true, just nervous energy. That thing where you laugh at inappropriate situations and inappropriate things. I do that too, so that I'm gonna give her a pass on that, definitely. Okay, meanwhile, Gina and Kelly are fishing. Gina accidentally kills a fish. She's very upset because it was supposed to be catch and release. By the way, as a response to popular demand, I've taken out several of the bangle stands and other things that were here, and I've even put this soft fluffy towel because I've had a few people ask me if they could please see the cats with an unobstructed view. Now, because I put this here, they're probably not going to come sit here. They were sitting here for hours. And as soon as I turn the camera on, they're like, no, people want to see me, so I'll just kind of hide in the back. But anyway, there's Nigel, my bipolar child. Yeah, so we'll see if anybody creeps up here. I'm giving it a try. Oh, I also wanted to say a warm welcome to Amber, who is a new subscriber. And this is also a good time to remind you to push that subscribe button. I would be really grateful, and I would love to have you join me. What I'm loving about this channel is that I am not everybody's flavor. I'm a little different than what else is out there, but I find that people that like this and people that get me, they're so much fun. I'm having so much fun kind of, you know, commenting and talking back and forth with you and kind of getting to know you. So, you know, definitely if this is your cup of tea, please subscribe, like, and do me a favor and comment. Tell me what you think. And here comes my Roomba. Let's see if it stays out in the living room or if it comes in here. Okay, as soon as I go to chase out the Roomba, because they're not super loud, but they're loud enough, Nigel decides that he wants to be in this chair where I'm sitting now. So we had to have a little argument about whether or not he should get off, which involved a lot of growling and hissing, which means absolutely nothing. He's not gonna bite or scratch me, but he's just very dramatic. He likes to do things on his own time according to his own agenda. So, all right, okay. Now, speaking of crazy, let's go to Shannon. John decides that he needs to isolate from Shannon because, as we learn, she has tested positive for Miss Rona. And I'm thinking, run, John, run, get away. Okay, John will stay at his house and Shannon will go home to her girls who have already been sick. And Shannon's like, oh, this is going to be a really long separation from you. And yeah, he doesn't seem all that devastated. However, yeah, she seems to feel like I'm sensing from her energy that she is suspecting this might be kind of the beginning of the end of their relationship. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, now Emily is trying to keep her home life normal. She is trying not to upset the children by letting them know how sick Shane is. She's just trying to, you know, Daddy's taking a rest and getting better and he'll be fine. She definitely has the most normal and kind of sweet home, even with Shane in the hospital right now. Okay, and then back at the other extreme, we have miserable Shannon going home to her place and the girls. She's horrified about every detail. The girls have not picked up properly. They're teenagers. You know, that's probably not going to happen. You're not going to come home and your house is going to be exactly as you left it when you've left 3 teenage daughters to take care of it. It's not going to happen. Okay. Now, back up to the weird budding friendship between Braunwyn and Elizabeth, whatever. So Braunwyn thanks Elizabeth for planning the trip, and they rejoin the girls. Now, Gina says, I just don't get you, Elizabeth. You're just, you know, and Elizabeth says, well, I was ashamed of who I was. Okay. Now she's going to spill out to all 4. I love the way she's supposedly this really secretive woman who didn't want to tell anybody anything, and yet she kept dropping hints and dropping hints. I know she's the type of person that wants everybody to know everything about her, but she tries to have this air of mystery. You know, now she's going to just spill everything to everybody. And she says that she was molested by, quote, many men. She says that she called the FBI and shut them down. No, you're changing your own story, because we find out this is lying, that she's saying I called the FBI, I shut them down. No, what happened was, she says, what really happened was that she was kind of playing doctor, messing around with the neighbor kid. She was basically showing him what the adults did with her, which is something an abuse victim does as a child. That is kind of predictable behavior. And it was the other child who, I believe, went to their parents, and then the parents went to the police, who then went to the FBI. So yes, in a sense, she did shut it down indirectly, but she makes it sound like, you know, she walked off the compound in the middle of the night and, you know, got a payphone and called the FBI and turned them all in. You know, I think Elizabeth might be... I'm not doubting that she was abused, but apart from that, I think Elizabeth might be, if not a pathological liar, let's just call it a habitual liar. That when she's uncomfortable, she falls back on lying. Okay, all right. Now they're making dinner in the cabin/mansion at Lake Arrowhead, and the ladies are cooking dinner, and they're wearing those plastic shields over their faces without masks, which are completely useless. And Kelly's got hers tipped up like this, like a visor. COVIDiots. I think I can say that without YouTube tagging me. They're kind of COVIDiots. Okay. That is when Shannon calls them and tells them that she's positive. And Braunwyn realizes, oh, I was just over at her house. She came to visit her. And Kelly was there too. And Shannon and Kelly were there with Shannon, just there, without masks. Now it's Braunwyn's turn to freak out. Now Kelly says something so ignorant. Why am I surprised? She says, well, you don't have to worry. If you have type O blood, you're bulletproof. You're bulletproof. Nothing's gonna happen. Okay. She's still convinced that her October 10th, 1920 wedding date is going to happen. No, it's not. We know in retrospect. And in the summer, I think all of us knew that wasn't going to happen. This is summer now. This is like early summer where they're filming this. Yeah, we knew. Didn't we know? Didn't we all know in like June, July that October was probably not going to be, oh, everything was back to normal? I don't know. Okay, now the ladies go home. Braunwyn is back and talking and with her friend Shari, and again keeps calling this girlfriend Shari her wife, her wife, her wife. They show photos of them together. They take all these Instagram photos of them selves together. They look like professional photos. Their hair and their makeup is perfect. They're all posed, and they look like a couple. They look like a couple. Braunwyn attaches herself to people like a limpet. I feel like now that she doesn't have Sean as her enabler-in-chief, because he was her enabler-in-chief when she was drinking, now she's just Braunwyn, and she needs someone else to attach onto and suck the lifeblood out of. And it's Shari, who seems happy to go along. Okay. Braunwyn reeks of desperation, the way that her mother, Dr. Deb, probably reeks of patchouli oil. And it clings to both of them. They can't get rid of it, no matter what they do. Okay, we're gonna swipe past Shannon because she's just boring the crap out of me with all of her, you know, take this, take that, oh my God, what's gonna happen, you know, we need this for, she's just, Shannon this season is just unbearable. Unbearable. Unless Shannon is, sick Shannon, or I think I'm sick Shannon, because she's such a hypochondriac, she's so obsessed with these things, is just boring the crap out of me this season. How's that for clear? Okay, all right. Now, back to Shane and Emily. There was something stupid with Kelly, but I'm getting impatient. Folks, I'm getting impatient. I mean, what did I expect? What did I expect they were going to do during quarantine and during, you know, Miss Rona? That they were going to make it fabulously, you know, amazing. I should have known there would be issues. Okay, Emily is really seriously afraid of losing Shane. But fortunately now things are looking up and she is going to pick him up and bring him home. But she realized during all this that she was afraid of the prospect of, oh my God, what if I lose him? Remember, they had just kind of recently come back together and had a sort of a honeymoon during all this, and she was just like, she was terrified of losing him. Okay, so he is soon back to normal. He's over the worst of it, and he's very soon going to be back to normal, so he will be fine. Okay. Kelly tells Shannon that Braunwyn told Elizabeth that Shannon was the one who brought this generalized suspicion of Elizabeth to the group on a silver platter. She was the one who early on told everyone, well, you know, I think Elizabeth is full of shit. You know, she came telling everyone she was the richest girl in Newport Beach and all this stuff, and Shannon was the one from the beginning who kind of planted the seed in all the girls' heads that Elizabeth was maybe a liar, an exaggerator, full of shit. Okay, now when Kelly tells Shannon this, of course, she's appalled, she's horrified, she's being called a liar again, she's being attacked again. Another giant Cold War between Shannon and Braunwyn. All right. Now, to Kelly, Jolie is starting online college classes, and she says that she likes Rick. She's glad Kelly's with Rick. She feels like he's the first normal boyfriend Kelly has had. All right, now to Elizabeth. Elizabeth and Jimmy are at her house. She says she opened up to Braunwyn about her past and that Braunwyn was, quote, she was great. She was just great. Super supportive. Don't trust her. Okay, I guess, you know, Jimmy knows some or most of what she's been through. Why am I not buying this? Why does this all feel so fake? I know it's reality TV, and a lot of it is, you know, drummed up or at least exaggerated or heightened for the cameras, but maybe Elizabeth is just a really bad actress, and maybe even when she is telling her own true story, it just comes off as fake. Now, Emily visits Braunwyn. Emily says that she was speaking to Shannon a lot during Shane's illness, and that Shannon was great to her, that Shannon was very supportive. Braunwyn starts talking about Shari again, her wife, and then she says, yeah, Sean is jealous of Shari. Shari stays with them or has stayed with them for considerable periods of time. And again, what the hell is with those professional photos? They look like engagement photos. The pictures of Braunwyn and Shari, they look like those professional engagement photos you get taken. Emily asks why she is doing something to hurt Sean. And we find out that, not really shockingly, Sean and Braunwyn are close to divorcing. You know, I wish I had a more exciting episode to give you, but this is what Bravo gave me. And the one thing that I'm getting out of it is that I in terms of a new cast member, I think they could just remove Elizabeth Vargas and not bring her back next weekend. I don't think she brings anything to the show. I think that Shannon needs to go on hiatus until Miss Rona is over, because she's absolutely useless cast member. She's not bringing anything. So this is a little bit tough, you know, like I said, this is such a weird season. Sometimes Kelly is the voice of reason. She's saying the most kind of intelligent, cogent things, and then she turns around and says something completely ignorant about Miss Rona. But when it comes to kind of emotional situations, she seems to be a little more in tune than normal. And, you know, Gina is just adorable this season. Emily hasn't had much to do other than worry about, you know, Shane. So, yeah, very unfortunate season. And I understand why the ratings are very, very low. However, this is my homeland. This is where I am from. The soil where I was raised. Laguna and Newport. So I feel an obligation to continue watching and recapping this show. If nothing else, I can really point out a lot of bullshit because of things I know about life there, situations, places, neighborhoods, you name it. Who's rich, who's poor, you know. So, and also I have a certain loyalty to the show, I guess, because I've watched it from the very beginning. And yeah, and we did get rid of two horrible cast members this year. Unfortunately, they were not replaced by anything spectacular, but I have to say that even as boring as this is, I'm still kind of relieved not to have to see Vicky Gunvalson or Tamra Barney. And hopefully they'll get it together for next season, because if they don't, the show's future is going to be endangered. And come on, this is the original. I don't want it to go. Look, I know everything dies eventually. Nothing lasts forever. No TV show lasts forever. But I'd like it to hang on for a few more years. I really would. All right, I am going to start working on, I've been busy, like I have an incredibly important life. I've been playing a lot of tennis. And yeah, I mean, doing a lot of, I feel like I'm doing more socializing now than I did before, because I am having to schedule these catch-up phone calls with people. I don't know if this is happening with you. So I'll make a catch-up date with a friend, and this is like almost every day. And then the call, if you haven't spoken to someone for a few weeks, or even in some cases a couple months, you end up talking to them or FaceTiming them for 2 or 3 hours while you have a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine or whatever. And so I feel like, oh my God, I'm spending hours every day on the phone. That wouldn't have happened before Miss Rona, because I would have been traveling to California all the time to see my friends, or New York to see my friends, or India to see my friends, or England to see my friends. And I would be seeing my family and my mom on a regular basis. But instead, you've got to have the quality time on the phone. So yeah, that takes up hours of every day. I'm not complaining. I have many, many things to be grateful for, many things to be thankful for. And, you know, I really, yeah, I'm aware, you know, that, that this is an incredibly trying time, and it's been so hard for so many people. And like I said, my husband is a restaurant attorney, so a lot of people that we know own or work in restaurants, and people who, you know, have been doing really well, making a good living forever, are struggling, like really, really struggling. my sister has Miss Rona right now. So if you want to put out a good thought for Marianne, that would be appreciated. She seems to be doing okay. She doesn't seem to have strong symptoms. However, she's the first person in my immediate family to catch it. So that kind of made my heart stop, as you can imagine. But yeah, anyway, I want to thank you so much for being here. I love this little time we spend together. And I hope that you will join me for the next recap. I started to say, I am working on something, and then I went off on my riff about why I'm busy, even though I shouldn't be busy because I'm not doing my normal things like volunteering and traveling. However, I would like to cover some really pretty spectacular and a little dark Indian murder mysteries that have happened, both in the recent past and the more, a little bit, you know, like second half of the 20th century. But there are some really, really good ones involving Indian socialites, royalty, Bollywood actors and actresses. Now that obviously means that I have to gather all the information, which I've been starting to do, and I also have to write sort of a script. I can't play it quite as fast and loose as I do with you when I'm talking about, you know, the Housewives. But that is something that I would like to do, and I've had some encouragement from you that that is something that you would enjoy. I am still going to get to Southern Charm. You're probably no longer believing me, but I am going to get to Southern Charm because remember, also after Orange County is over, I've got a little break until I think the next one is New Jersey that I'm going to be covering. So again, lots of love to you. Please take very good care of yourself and remember to be good, but not too good. And be well. Love you guys. Bye.